Welcome to Dream Motivation Tube, where English learning meets captivating storytelling. Fear, it whispers in our minds, stops us before we even begin. This is the story of a young man who lived in the shadow of his own terror, until he discovered that courage is not the absence of fear, but something far more powerful. There once was a young man who dreamed of becoming a teacher. He loved books. He loved sharing knowledge. But there was one problem that destroyed every opportunity. He was terrified of speaking in front of others. Every time he stood before a group, his heart raced like thunder. His hands shook. His voice disappeared. The words he knew so well in his mind became trapped behind walls of panic. He avoided presentations at university, refused job interviews that required public speaking. Year after year, he watched others succeed while he remained silent. His dream was dying, killed not by lack of ability, but by the weight of his fear. What he didn't know was that everything was about to change. One autumn morning, the young man sat alone in a park, watching the falling leaves. An elderly woman sat beside him on the bench. She had kind eyes and a peaceful presence. "You carry something heavy," she said softly. "I can see it in your shoulders." The young man was surprised, but something about her made him feel safe. He told her everything, his dream, his fear, his failures. The woman listened without judgment. When he finished, she smiled gently. "I was once like you," she said, "paralyzed by the same terror. But I learned a secret that changed my life. Would you like to know it?" The young man nodded, though he doubted anything could help him now. "Come to the community center tomorrow at dawn," she said. "Bring your fear with you. I'll show you something you've never understood about courage." That night, he couldn't sleep. What could she possibly teach him that he hadn't already tried? When he arrived the next morning, the woman was waiting by a small, empty stage. "Today you will speak," she said calmly. Panic flooded through him immediately. "No, I can't. There's no one here." But even the thought, "Exactly," she interrupted. "Tell me, what do you fear most about speaking?" He thought for a moment. "That I will freeze. That people will judge me. That I will fail completely." The woman nodded. "So you fear the future? A future that hasn't happened yet? You're fighting ghosts, my dear boy? Shadows that don't exist?" She handed him a glass of water. "Hold this," she said. "Now I want you to imagine that this glass is extremely heavy. Imagine it weighs 100 kilograms. Feel that weight in your mind." The young man tried. His hand began to tremble, not from the weight of the water, but from the weight of his imagination. "Do you see?" the woman asked. "The glass hasn't changed, but your mind made it heavy. Fear works the same way. The situation isn't heavy. Your thoughts about the situation make it unbearable. Now," she continued, "I want you to step onto that stage. You will not give a speech. You will simply stand there. 5 seconds. It's all 5 seconds." That seemed possible. He walked slowly to the stage. His heart pounded, but he stood there. 5 seconds passed. "Good," the woman said. "Tomorrow, 10 seconds, then 20, then 1 minute. We don't fight fear all at once. We face it in small steps. This is the secret. Courage is not one giant leap. It is many tiny steps forward." The young man returned every morning. Each day, he stood a little longer. The woman taught him another principle. "Your mind is like a wild horse," she explained. "When the horse is afraid, it runs. But when you train it gently, consistently, it learns to trust you. Your fearful thoughts are the same. Don't fight them. Acknowledge them. Say, 'I see you, fear. But I am choosing to act anyway.'" She taught him about breathing. "Fear lives in shallow breath," she said. "When you breathe deeply, you tell your body that you are safe. Your body listens." Week by week, the young man practiced. First, speaking to an empty room. Then, speaking with the woman present. Then inviting one stranger. Then 2. Then 5. But there was more to learn. The greatest secret the woman finally revealed is this. You believe you must eliminate fear before you act. This is backwards. You act despite fear, and then only then does fear begin to shrink. Action is the antidote. Waiting for confidence is like waiting for rain in the desert. You must create confidence through action. Suddenly, he understood. He had spent years waiting to feel brave. But bravery comes from doing the thing you fear, not before. The young man began applying for teaching positions. His first interview was terrifying. His voice shook. He stumbled over words. But he didn't run. He finished the interview. He didn't get that job. But something inside him had changed. He had faced the fear and survived. The ghost had less power now. He continued practicing. Every presentation, every conversation, every moment of vulnerability. He chose action over comfort. 3 months later, he stood before a classroom of 20 students. His hands still trembled slightly. His heart still beat faster than normal, but his voice was steady. His words were clear. He spoke about literature, about ideas, about the beauty of learning. The students listened. Some asked questions. He answered them. The fear was still there, but it was no longer in control. Others began to notice his transformation. "You're different," a friend said. "More confident." "What happened?" The young man smiled. "I stopped waiting to be fearless," he said. "Started acting despite the fear." Months turned into years. He became the teacher he always dreamed of becoming. Not because the fear disappeared, it never fully did. Because he learned to walk forward with fear as his companion, not his master. He remembered the woman's words every day. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. And so we learn that fear is not our enemy. It is a signal, a teacher, a companion on the journey of growth. The path to courage is not found by eliminating fear, but by taking small, consistent steps forward despite its presence. Each time you act in the face of fear, you train your mind that you are stronger than the shadows it creates. Remember, you don't need to feel brave to be brave. You only need to take the next small step. That is where true courage lives. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. What fear will you face with small steps? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to Dream Motivation Tube for more stories that inspire growth and courage. Thank you for being here. Your journey matters.